Welcome to Intelligent Voices. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have a very special, dedicated literature to get out. And here it is. We're going to be talking about Mexicans. Many brothers and sisters we see out there teaching the word have been confused, or they are reading it from a script. And the script is all wrong because it's actually benefiting one person. But here it is. We're going to wake up the brothers and sisters today to add this to their collage of knowledge. Here it is from this wisdom that we're going to share today. Now, before we get it started, we always have to pray. So we give people at least, a few minutes here to get a prayer in before we begin. Let's do that now. Shalom, shalom. Thanks. I got, yeah. You got me hooked up right over that. Okay. Hooked me up there so I can make my sound better. Testing. Everybody can hear me? All right, testing. All right. So now, brothers and sisters, we hear many of our brothers out there teaching the gospel of the past and sharing the history, the historical history with brothers who don't know who they are. So that's fine. But my father wants to address error in their teaching, because here it is. They are constantly calling on every Mexican and saying that they are brothers. Not so, brother. And they keep telling these Mexicans that they are Issachar. Not even so. Today we got footage we're going to share on this video to point out a lot of key things that these brothers might have not known, so that therefore they can fix their teachings when they actually referring to a Mexican. So here it is. We're going to allow them to understand how far back their misinformation has been. And hopefully they can gravitate to this video, take what they are given by my father, YAHUAH, and allow that to benefit their hearts. Now, today the topic is white-skinned Mexican truth. That's right. You heard me. White-skinned Mexican truth. That's what we're going to be talking about. Because brothers and sisters are out there telling all Mexicans that they are our brothers and sisters. And here it is. We got to fix that. Okay? So today's lesson is about white-skinned Mexicans truth. And here it is they our descendants? So I would like to welcome, here it is, everyone for tuning in to this premiere, this video, and allowing it to be a benefit to them, knowing that here it is going to help the heart. And you're going to know you're going to have correct information and not listening to groups of people who are out there following a script from someone. Okay? Because here it is, they're making somebody rich with all those shirts, right? And here it is, they're out there with old knowledge for Israelites, which is a good, like I say, you brothers and sisters who don't know who they is, they might need to hear that and know that. But here it is, brothers. That's not what the benefit of YAHUAH is saying. YAHUAH is saying we are here to save the people, those who are being counted as back under the new covenant as Israelites, okay? From all nations, right? Who received the true gospel, my brothers and sisters. So your brother Yisrael Yashambaya is finna break down the whole story and the whole trick that here it is, many have been duped or bamboozled by. Because here it is, you don't know about the deals that are made. So we're going to put all that out here today. So brothers and sisters can wake up and really understand who is your brother and who is your sister. Okay? So without further ado, let's start this wisdom on Africa legacy in Mexico, right? So now as we get in here, we see the legacy of slavery. That's what we see. My wisdom about the facts of Mexicans arrived around 1 decade ago. That's right, brothers. So I've been deep in study. That's right. Here it is, upon this earth, in the spirit of my father YAHUAH. When I began research on the early history of Africans and their descendants, here it is. When I began to ask my scholars, here it is, of the world, churches, yeah, go see the Address the Nation video. I used to be a Christian, but really I was checking out things from my father. But now here it is, my final task is now here with my wife, YAHUAH, who is the channel head CEO of this channel. I am the senior mentor, teacher, that's right, on the body of YAHUAH. So now, as we see, as I asked my scholars in the church world, when I was in that type of world, investigating, are Mexicans, I asked, my descendants of my Hebrew race? I was politely told we are all God's children. See? They use God, right? And that I was also embarking on a wild goose chase. That's what I was told. I shouldn't mess around with it. Just, go with it. Why go with it? Because here it is, you are not my father. And you know who I am, right? So here it is. But as I furthered my research, evidence was so greatly, here it is, discovered facts. I'm talking about discovered facts. Remember what I told us earlier, we're going to actually unmask the trickery that bamboozle, right? So here it is. The evidence, here it is, discovered facts that Mexico had never, I said never, that's right, outwardly imported slaves. So they didn't outwardly go get slaves. Slaves was dropped off, okay? As they was, Christopher Columbus and all of them was headed to the New World, right? So you might have heard that in school in your history, some of you. But if you're not heard it, you heard it today. And here it is. They never outwardly imported slaves from Africa, but to my conquest brothers, that's right. Also to my sisters of this learning knowledge of truth, I find that it is righteous or justifiable to say it is fully certain that the nations, people of African descent, were relatively recent. Remember I said dropped off? Recent arrivals to Mexico. Which means, my brothers and sisters, that our people had already been enslaved in Mexico earlier than the trade, the Atlantic trade, slave trade, right? This lack of knowledge, right? Many have, but not no more, because you're going to be able to fix your gospel up with this new information about our African people in Mexico has not changed much over time, right? Adamantly, many will tell you that countries that had Hebrews were the descendants, right, of escaped slaves. That's right. I said escaped slaves. That was a lie. From the North America. Now understand, we're going to get to the breaking of which direction, which way is which, right? So they said here, the Hebrews were descendants of escaped slaves from the North America in Cuba. Okay, I got family in Cuba. They say Cuba, but it's called Cuba. So here it is, which I tell you that it is so a deception, as we know that the Atlantic Ocean, my brothers and sisters, is in the middle of 4-part countries, right? So here it is. We finna prove this lie. We have Africa, we have Europe, We have North America. And lastly, we have South America. That's 4 continents, right? Okay. Now, our people owned or never owned any boats back then for travel, right? Because they were slaves. calling me on my phone. But now as we see this, we never owned no boats. So now that would show that they had been enslaved as far as the North Americas, right? Which also would tell us why the Hebrews was first arrivals in Mexico, right? Which traveled, here it is, during that time their country was the closest or the first stop of export. That's right. Because you got Africa. Okay, keep that in mind. We're talking about Africa. Meaning, my brothers and sisters, by fact and definition, to another country for sale. That's right. So don't believe the lie that our people was running from the North America, right? To Mexico freedom. How could that be? Right? It can't be. Because here it is, I'm finna prove something. Which that country had its own independence. Right? But it wasn't for the Hebrew Israelite people. Here it is. Which Yisrael Yeshambaya, your brother, will bless you with the truth. The historical records, of course, tells another story, my brothers and sisters. Let me show you time periods between 1520 to 1619. That's right. Was inducted as our people came to the West Virginia. Right? The knowledge to this that there were only 12 or 20 Hebrews, slaves at that time. Who was there at that time, which eventually led to the growth and development of slavery of our people who are Hebrew Israelites from Africa. That's right. To Mexico. Which was throughout the British colonies. In the North Americas. So my brothers and sisters understand what I'm saying here. Many brothers and sisters are saying all Mexicans are our brothers and sisters. No, they're not. And I'm going to prove that. We got footage that we're going to also show you that who and what they are, right? So the mask is coming off. I'm going to shine more wisdom, right? So you can see why 1619 was the important date. As many of our lost brothers and sisters always ask, when did slavery start, right? When did it start? Get those questions all the time. When did slavery start? The knowledge is slavery started in 1619 when a Dutch ship, right, brought 20 African Hebrew Israelites ashore in the British colony of Jamestown. Most of you might know this by now, but those who don't, and these are those who are watching our channel, is finding out some more information of the truth. That's right. So brothers and sisters can stop including everything and everyone. That's right. Now let's get back to the topic. That's right. Now Spain, understand this, brothers and sisters, New Spain was referred, right, as Mexico. Say that again. New Spain was referred, here it is, as Mexico, which had multitudes of enslaved Africans. That's right. Research. My Father have sent me to give you the truth only. Okay? So therefore you can witness to the gospel of the truth better. That's right. As any other colony in the Western Hemisphere, so remember, my brothers and sisters who are Israelites, who are so-called blacks, were present as slaves of Spanish. That's right. You, our ancestors, here it is, were slaves to the Spanish first. And you're going to find out what a Spanish really is. That's right. So the mask can come off and you can identify what you're looking at, right? As early as 1520s. That's right. Now, for the record, over approximately 300 years, it lasted. Okay? The slave trade brought about 200,000, that's right, Africans, Israelites, to the colony. I have found out, brothers and sisters, that many Hebrews were born in Mexico. Woo! That's right, interbreeding. And followed their parents into slavery. Little children, babies, okay, was sold to Mexicans, right? Until 1829, when Africans or Americans abolished it, okay, by their leaders of their newly independent nation. All right, we're getting closer, right? Because we all in the same pot here. So let's reveal more evidence of this matter. That's right. White skin Mexican truth. That's what you're learning today. So understand this, brothers and sisters. Africans' labor were vital to the Spanish colony. Indigenous Hebrew peoples were killed or died from European diseases. That's right. And Hebrews assumed a dispositioned share, here it is, of the burden of work, particularly in the early trade colony period, right? African slaves labored in the silver mines, that's right. Zaccadia, Teco, Geronimo Bay, and Pachia, if I'm pronouncing those right. Spelled G-U-A-N. I have them at the end of this broadcast. Put it like that. So you can research these areas in Mexico, right? They also worked on the sugar, here it is, plantation, or Marlos, which is in the northern and central regions. That's right. In the south and in the Mexican factories. This goes even deeper, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you the truth. I'm going to leave that there for you to research. On the west coast in the Mexican city, many of our brothers and sisters with their children worked in skilled trade. Okay? When they crossbreeded, and before the crossbreeding, this is what they was doing to the Hebrew Israelites. That's right. So you can identify who is and who's not, brothers and sisters. Now understand this. Many of our brothers and sisters with their children worked in skilled trade or on cattle ranches. Although Hebrew black slaves were never more than 2% of the population. And that's the total population. And their contributions, right, to the colony of Mexico, right, were enormous. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, we've been used and been fooled. You have. But today, Intelligent Voices Israelites is revealing you the truth so you can go better in life serving YAHUAH with full truth in heart. Now understand, especially during acute labor shortages, but by the power of Yahweh, whenever their numbers permitted, Hebrew slaves created balance that allowed them to cope with their situations, that gives strength of expression to our true humanity and maintain a sense of self. So understand the curse or the curses by Yahweh upon them as they bared it. These strengths flourished into Mexico City. See, our people were so strong, they was trying to break us every kind of way they could. And every way they could, they always stood. Okay? So here it is. The Mexicans adopted that behavior. Here it is, it went into Mexico City in the port city of Veracruz. That's right. Veracruz. Do your research, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you the truth. We are not here to lie. We are here to give you the truth. That's why we're Intelligent Voices Israelites. We're on a higher plane, okay? Now, Veracruz, which was the major mining centers in the sugar plantations that allow Hebrew Africans to preserve some of their cultural heritage, which they allowed them to live the way that they served Yah, even as they forged new traditions upon them, as the Spans by dynamic relationships with them. Here it is, that's that crossbreeding. They started taking our sisters, having sex with them, even though they were slaves, and just using them, abusing them, and just doing whatever they wanted to them. That's right. And the more children they had, the more slaves they had. Okay? But we're looking at the color of those children who came out. Most of them came out brown-skinned. Okay? Not like your light-skinned or your white Spanish person today. They've been separated. That's right. So these white Spanish people who enslaved our people, who was dropped off, okay, in Spain, Spanish territory of Mexico, okay, which had their own independence, right, okay. And here it is, they started to copy. Here it is. Those children started to copy the ways and not in sync with Yahweh's laws. So they started doing Mexican Christianity and Catholics, okay? And praying to Mary, okay? All in violation of the book of Hebrew, okay? These people are straight demons, man, okay? They cannot ever change unless they try. That's right. So understand this. They started learning the Spanish ways and not Yahweh's laws and commands. So the curse allowed them to interbreed. That's right. Yah allowed interbreeding. Okay? Because here it is. That was the thing they didn't stand on. They went through all the torture and the turmoil, but they didn't stand on Yahuwah's law. So Yah, here it is, allowed them to become one with these demons, to interbreed. Although Hebrew males outnumbered females, many slaves found spouses from their own or other ethnic groups, right? But other Hebrew slaves married or had enormous desires to be with the people of the Spanish or the Spains. That's right. Which, my brothers and sisters, created in time a sinful population of mixed blood. Didn't I just say that? Interbreed. Yah took off his hand of protection on those and let them interbreed because he was putting a curse on them, Hebrew Israelites. That emerged and gained demographic ascendancy by the mid-18th century, which is known as the mulattoes, all right? And you had the pardos, right? And you had the Zambos, right? Okay? Those were the three sets of characteristics. Mulatto, Pardo, and Zambo. That's right. So you understand what is the definition of these words. It means a person of mixed white and Hebrew ancestry. That's right. A person of white and Hebrew ancestry, especially a person with one white and one Hebrew black parent. That's right. So many of them were not born free. Remember Ishmael in the book with Abraham and then Isaac? But either in time acquired their liberty. Because here it is, later, as we finna get to it, your brother Yisrael Yeshua Yah will tell you the truth. That's right. Now, in the rest of the Americas, Hebrew slaves or slavery in Mexico placed a severe physical and psychological price upon the Hebrew victims, right? So here it is. I tell you, that abuse was a constant part of a Hebrew slave's existence. Physical and psychological. Now, when you definition these words, this was placed on the people of our ancestors. Physical abuse and psychological abuse. So now here it is, was a constant part of a Hebrew slave's existence. Resisting their oppression, here it is, often meant torture. So if you try to tell a Mexican, I ain't gonna do that, here it is, they got tortured, mutilations happened, torn apart. There was whippings, flesh torn from their backs, or being put in filthy confinements. And here it is, the death rates were high for Hebrew black slaves. They killed a lot. So here it is, in the silver mines and on the sugar plantations. That's right, brothers and sisters. Yet, for the power of the Most High YAHUAH, their spirits were never broken, and many fled at the time of Herod Tubman to establish settlements in other remote areas, right, of the country for freedom and livelihood. Their direction of thought was a constant thorn, right, in the fearful minds of slave owners. But as this continued, the Hebrew Israelite finally got recognized, right, and gained their freedom and this allowed them to build and administer their own town. Remember Black Wall Street? Okay. And then therefore it was burned down by a mob of white men. They were Spanish men. Okay. Today, here it is, stands the Hebrew Israelite leader. That's right. Many haven't even heard of this. But see, this is why Intelligent Voices Israelites is here to broadcast the truth, to help those who truly want the salvation of Father YAHUAH, who created heaven and earth. And here it is, created the first man, Adam, and then created the first woman, Eve, from the man. Now this Israelite leader, his name was Yanka, and that's spelled Elyanga, Yanka, Yanka. So you might have seen me say that on some video, Shalom Yanka, because this is strengthening the power of the people who had to fight against the oppressors. That's right. Which remains today a symbol of Hebrew Israelite resistance in Mexico. That's what his statue represents. When you go down to Mexico, you will see the statue. Here it is. Or you can Google the statue, and you can pull it up, and it's Yanka right there. Okay? Who fought and gained the win with resistance in Mexico, that they fought and won their liberty. Their first conspiracy on record took place, and here it is, 1537, my brothers and sisters. Get it right. This was the first enslavement before 1619. But 1619 became popular after they first had to test it before they launched it. That's right. 1537. And these assaults on the Hebrew became more frequent as the black Israelite populations increased, regardless of the form it took to escape, right, or rebel and resist. It only true by far demonstrated or demonstrations an anger deficit of the status. That's right. It was an anger deficit of the status against Hebrew slaves to desire or reclaim their own lives in America and around the globe. But the historical fact is Hebrew blacks' strength, here you go, of resistance still occupies a very deep, special place in Mexico Hebrews' revolutionary traditions today. That's right. A tradition that is a now source of pride carried also for many Mexicans. And so, my brothers and sisters, of this knowledge, that's right, and of understanding and teaching, that's right. And beyond that, Africans in Mexico left their culture, okay? Africans in Mexico left their culture and genetic imprint everywhere they lived. That's right. in states such as Veracruz, Garamora, and Acatea, which is spelled Oaxaca, if I pronounce that right. Their descendants of African Hebrew children still bear the evidence of their Hebrew Israelite ancestors, right? Because the brown skin. Today, many of them no longer see themselves as Mandingo, okay? Mandingo, okay? Or Wolf, or Ibu, or Ben Congo, or members of other Hebrew African ethnic groups. Their self-identity now is Hebrew Mexican. That's right. Or indigenous Mexican. Because they will have a certain color, which is brown. Okay? Different than the oppressor. Okay? Which remains the color of a white skin. Okay? So this is what we're saying. And they share in the inner breed of their nation. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So before brothers start telling every Mexican that they are Issachar, first check your information of who you really referring that to. Because when you look at the Aztecs, here it is that was in Mexico, they were brown, okay? They wasn't white. So it's a difference. So you have to get your information when you point to the board of the 12 tribes of Israel. You can't claim every Mexican as a brother or sister, man. Because here it is, your enemy is also on that board once you do your research. And we're going to have footage to prove that research for you. What a light-skinned Mexican really is, okay? So here it is. They interbreeded, here it is, around the globe. But you have to truly understand, yet their cultural Hebrew roots of heritage has not entirely disappeared. Some Hebrew Israelite African traditions survived in the songs, in instrumental music, in dance, and other ways, right? But much, here it is, has changed since Hebrew slavery, that's right, ended. And it is difficult for small elect Hebrew minorities under Yahweh's new commandment or covenant to maintain its true tradition laws in sinful America, okay? Because most of them came to America. And now you're going to understand why. Okay? So you don't get confused that here it is, as they are tricking you to believe that here it is, they got some claim besides you as a slave. Nah. We fixing that today. We fixing that today. This is constantly changing in society. But the facts are the facts, my brothers and sisters, which now gains you knowledge that Mexicans, here it is, white-skinned Mexicans are not outwardly, here it is, your clean bloodline descendant. That's what I'm telling you. That's right. So you got to research better, brothers. And here it is, you got to understand, here it is, Yah have to be in you to pull the truth. So when you come, you bring in the truth where it can be looked up, and here it is. People can understand, yes, that is true. I didn't know that. So here it is. They're not outwardly your clean blood descendants from Africa. But I will leave you all with this wisdom. We who claim Hebrew Israelites and follow Yahuwah's laws of commands are true ancestors, and are brown-skinned, male and female, remaining Israelites, who are visible of Hebrew Israelite African descent. That's right. So when we see this here, we are spoken, here it is, by Yahweh in Revelations. Let's go to Revelations. Let's go to Revelations 1. Revelations chapter 7. Watch this, y'all. Because we're not playing. We're here to tell you the truth, and the truth shall set you all the way free, right? If you're able to handle it. Because here it is in chapter 7, we got 4 through 8, everyone. And it clearly says, I heard the multitude of those who had been, here it is, marked with the seal. That's right. 144,000 marked from every tribe, right, of Israelites. 12 tribes were marked from the tribe of Judah. 12,000 tribes were marked from the tribe of Reuben. 12,000 was from the tribe of Gad. 12,000 was from the tribe of Asher. And 12,000 was from the tribe of Naphtali. 12,000 was from the tribe of Manasseh. 12,000 was from the tribe of Simeon. 12,000 tribes from the tribe of Levi. 12,000 from the tribe of Issachar. And 12,000 from the tribe of Zebulun. And 12,000 from the tribe of Joseph, which is Dan. And 12,000 were marked from the tribe of Benjamin. You see that? So now we're understanding something. Who continue to be productive members of his law. But we know history and present times have not been kind, here it is, to the achievement of the Hebrew African people, the Israelites, in Mexico and around the world. It is only within recent times, brothers and sisters, that our lives have been studied and our ancestors' contributions to Mexico society has been eliminated. You see that? It has been eliminated. I must say, they contemporary Hebrew black Mexicans cannot claim a true lineage or legacy, but our present Hebrews must draw our strength from it, right? Because this is knowledge of the truth. This is allowing you to understand that here it is. You've been bamboozled, you've been tricked, and people have been wearing a mask, hiding their true identity from you. And you've been claiming the wrong people. That's right. Because here it is. Only Israelites that believe the gospel of the truth of YAHUAH is your true brother and sister. And now you understand the identity here between set apart of those who are in Mexico, became brown-skinned and was set apart. That's right. I just named the areas. And we're going to put the areas on this site so everybody can understand these areas of history of where our ancestors also were. That's right. So now as we see, the present Hebrews must draw their strength from this teaching. Even as we see all of us today that our Hebrew people has become a shrinking part of their true African, here it is, country, as Israelite people. That's right. So as I close today, I, Yisrael Yesham Yah, tell you, do not fall asleep, brothers and sisters, to any lies. Because here it is, brothers are out there telling all these Mexicans who are light and white that they are, here it is Issachar. That's false. That's false. Because here it is, when you look at that board, Naphtali, okay, you got to do your research, brothers. So now here it is. I tell you not to fall asleep to any lies again, but be awakened to the truth of who you truly are in the eyes of Yah. My Hebrew shalom. Be in peace, my brothers and sisters. Until next time.